Welcome back to Another On Wrestling and to another edition of Raw Out of 10. And on the heels of the Saturday night main event that saw a new World Heavyweight Champion, CM Punk, Raw rolled into New Mexico for a jam-packed episode of Raw as we continue to build towards Survivor Series coming up in a couple of weeks. So yeah, a lot going down on this show, and we start things off with the new World Champion. Hitting the ring to address the WWE faithful on his first night with the gold back in his position. He thanked AJ Lee and the man he defeated to regain the gold, Jey Uso. He said 3 minutes was not enough time to hold on to the gold, so he's going to have to make sure he holds on to it for a hell of a lot longer. If you come back and get in my business, I will put you back on the couch, Punk warned Rollins. Punk then called out the Vision, brought up AJ, Dirty Dom, JD McDonough, Finn Balor, Sheamus and John Cena as guys he wants to fight because they've earned an opportunity. Logan Paul interrupted, causing Punk to exclaim, anyone but you. Paul stated that his case before Heyman, Reed and Breakker made their presence felt. They issued a warning to the two of them, and the latter, who did not flinch at the prospect of earning a beatdown from the Vision. Breakker claimed Heyman brought everyone else 2 weeks of life and that he's coming for the world title. Paul teased walking out on Punk but returned to the ring only to endure a beatdown. Punk cleared the villains to wrap up a lengthy promo, but I thought it was a good one. Laid out next challenges, it seems quite intriguing. The first match was Stephanie Vaquer and Nikki Bella versus Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez, born off last week's confrontation with the Judgment Day. The match pitting these four ladies started hot with two former riding momentum into the break. During the timeout, though, the heels isolated Bella and cut her off from her partner, tugging her head and neck area to gain the upper hand. The tornado DDT from Bella finally created separation that allowed her to make the tag to Lee Primera. Vaquer exploded into the match to fight her opponents and delivered a dragon screw leg whip to Rodriguez. She avoided a high crossbody block for a 2, but failed to hoist her larger opponent up to the SVP. The babyfaces continued to roll with the champ teasing a devil's kiss on the ring apron. Rodriguez blocked it though and slammed Vaquer onto the hardest part of the ring. She added a cheap shot to Bella and Perez scored the win with the heels of Pop Rocks to the Hall of Fame. Yeah, another win for the Judgment Day. It feels like Nikki Bella kind of needs a big win soon. But yeah, I mean, this was okay for what it was. I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. Next up, it was Penta versus El Grande Americano, flanked by Bravo and Ray. El Grande Americano squared off with Penta in singles competition. The babyface controlled the majority of the opening minutes, keeping Americano off guard. The heel countered the Mexican Destroyer on the ring apron though, and sent Penta crashing back first onto it to turn the tide in his favour ahead of the break. Back from the break, Penta created separation, stunning Americano. While he was not able to mount consistent offense, he fought his way back into the match. When Bravo interfered, sweeping the fans' favourites' legs out from underneath him, he was ejected from ringside. Reyes slipped Americano in the mace slab, placing his mask and was suddenly ejected from there. Back in the ring, any attempts at cheating were neglected, and Penta delivered the Mexican Destroyer to secure the victory. I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. A good win for Penta this. Probably predictable with the whole mess in there as well, but I thought it worked quite well. 6 out of 10. Fresh off his successful defence of the IC title, Dominic Mysterio hit the ring for a promo and wasted no time clearing there as no one to stop him. Enter Rey Mysterio, returning after a long battle with a foot injury. The Hall of Famer took exception to his son, claiming it was the king of the luchadors, calling it an insult to El Santo, Blue Demon and Eddie. Dirty Dom claims to be better than all of them, and more importantly, knows he's better than his father. You can disrespect me all you want, but I won't let you disrespect Lucha Libre. Ray warned his son. The elder warned that as long as he's around, Dom will never be the king of luchadors, and ended the segment by blocking a cheap shot and delivering a 619. Yeah, if we get those two for the belt, I would definitely be into that, so hopefully that's the direction we're going. As Becky Lynch then jumped on the announce table unexpectedly, cutting a scathing promo on the last weeks of her life, including the injury to Seth Rollins, Adam Pearce sending her home, and Maxine thinking for a second that she is the same league as the man. She sent a warning to Debris before welcoming her to the big time, and nod to her former big time Bex character. On her way up to the ramp, she had an interesting confrontation with the Kabuki Warriors, potentially hinting at a partnership for War Games, which could definitely be an interesting lineup. And that led to our next match, which was Bayley and Lyra versus Oscar and Kyrie. The result of the closing moments of the last week's show, when the Kabuki Warriors the next match pitted Bayley and Lyra Valkyrie up against them. The heel seized control of the bout, neglecting the early onslaught by the babyface ahead of the break. Valkyrie dropped Sane with a powerbomb from out of nowhere and made the hot tag to Bayley, who exploded into the match and delivered a big elbow for a 2. Sane cut her down with a forearm from the ring apron after making an undetected tag, but the role model recovered and delivered a Bayley to belly for a near fall. Valkyrie delivered a big leg drop from Sane to yet another 2 count, only for the Pirate Princess to drive her into the mat with a double stomp into the top rope. Late in the match, an action broke down. Oscar sent the former women's IC champ into Bayley, knocking her from the apron. Back inside the squared circle, the Empress of Tomorrow trapped Valkyrie in the Oscar lock, forcing a submission for the win. After the match, the heels teased the beatdown until the chance made it so, clearing them out of the ring to stand tall. So yeah, it does feel like the women's tag team division's hotting up, and to be honest, it's exactly what was needed. So yeah, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. We then got action for the World Tag Team Championships. AJ Styles and Dragon Lee defending against the Judgment Day 2 weeks after they beat them for the title. The challengers took a different approach to this contest, attacking from the off and seizing early control with quick tag and a focused attack. The babyfaces fought back and launched themselves over the top rope and onto the former champs as the show headed to a break. Back from the timeout, and the action was fast and furious, with Lee sparking the championship comeback. Balor cut him off though, dropping him off to buy the heels a momentary reprieve. A tag to Styles brought the future Hall of Famer back into the fray to square off with McDonough. Dom Mysterio got involved, but his chicanery backfired, leading to Balor delivering a coup de grace to McDonough by accident. The inaugural Universal Champion made a save for the heel and ordered Mysterio to hit Styles with an IC Championship, but Sheamus appeared and wiped out Dirty Dom. Balor used the shillelagh on Styles, but Lee broke up a pin attempt as the action continues to break down. The latter wiped out 2/3 of the Judgment Day villains at ringside, and back inside the square circle, the Phenomenal One delivered a Styles clash to McDonough for the win. And yeah, overall this gets a 6 out of 10 from me. I thought it was a pretty decent match, this. Obviously it's probably not going to be a title change so soon after losing it, but yeah, decent match, and I think really established them as champs now. Adam Pearce announced the first 2 opening round matches for the Time Is Now tournament next Monday in Boston, with Rusev taking on Damian Priest and Nakamura v Sheamus. Nick Aldis will announce 2 more on SmackDown, and the main event of the show took to the squared circle late, but featured some solid action early on, with Uso wiping Reed and Breaker out on the floor with a tope. The heels wrestled control of the match away during the break and punished Punk coming out of it, diving their combined weight into the sternum of the world champion. Chants of "Let's Go Uso" rang from the stands. After several moments on the defensive, Punk tagged Uso into the match, and the former world champion unloaded on the heels. The fight spilled to the floor, where a countout was ultimately declared, but it was hardly the end of the war. Breaker wiped Uso out with a super spear, and the heels teed off on the baby faces. Punk grabbed a steel chair to neutralise the heels, and Logan Paul returned to the ring to stand by the champ, only to knock him unconscious with a pair of brass knucks. Pearl started down the Vision before handing over the brass knucks to Heyman, seemingly aligning himself with the faction, which, yeah, it's not a surprise, but I think it's an interesting direction to go in. How they all tally up against Punk and the babyfaces. Where does Jey Uso, etc. fit in this? So yeah, I'm intrigued. 6 out of 10. Overall, Raw this week gets a 6 out of 10 from me. I thought, yeah, it's a pretty solid episode of Raw this week. I mean, not too many massive surprises on there. Obviously, nice to see Ray back, etc., etc. Logan as well. I think there was a lot of good stuff on there without really being mind-blowingly great, but there was nothing really poor on there either. And I think we're definitely going in an intriguing direction towards Survivor Series. That's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe. Follow us on our socials. Link in the description below for daily wrestling news, meme, and content. Subscribe to our other channels on screen right now. That'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace out.